Let's get to the story of the day. I was 5 years old and riding my black pony Fireball with my twin sister, father, mother, and their friend watching. My father wanted to show off our riding abilities to a friend. My father chose me to protest because I was braver than my sister. The pen was muddy and unsuitable for riding. I was aware of this, but I didn't care. I began cantering around, performing my stunts. The pony's legs crossed to the left as I turned the reins to the right. I could feel us approaching the fence. The next thing I notice is that I am immediately above my body, looking down with a 360-degree perspective. I notice the pony's legs straighten. By the wither underneath the pony, I noticed a tinge of my pink clothing. I felt neither agony nor freedom. There were no feelings or fears. I felt clear in my head and hyper-aware that I was still me, although having no link to the body beneath the horse. As I continued to gently rise, I looked down at the scene. I can hear my mom screaming. My parents were coming towards me, and my sister was terrified at the gate. Then I was in complete darkness that seemed to go on forever. But I wasn't scared, which surprised me because I'm still afraid of the dark. I heard someone speaking to me, but saw no one. Everything was called into doubt. I asked what felt like a million questions, and the answer came to me wholly in my thoughts. Every action may appear to be bad, yet it serves a higher good. They were all perfect in some manner. I inquired about religion and its immensity. I felt like I spent a long time in this spot asking all sorts of questions about this, and I was patient and courteous in answering these fundamental queries. I felt so wise and complete. Then there was a flash of light. I found myself in a realm with white clouds and massive marble structures. People were hurrying around there. There was light everywhere, and everything was light. Light may be observed in even the smallest details. It was stunning. A gathering of people had gathered to greet me. I'm sure they recognized me and were delighted to see me. I had no idea who they were. I kept asking these beings more questions. I had to leave the group because the amount of love and information was overpowering. The next thing I remember is being at the bottom of some marble stairs. Two tall beings in white robes appeared. I'd like to think they were angels. They were stunning, but also scary and masculine. One angel had golden hair that was long and curly, while the other had darker hair. They were both familiar with me. Nonetheless, I inquired as to who they were. They reminded me, and I remembered who they were. They were delighted to see me, and I could sense their joy and excitement. "Someone wants to talk to me," they stated as they gazed up the stairs. I had the sensation of floating to the top of the stairs. I met someone very important to me, and I feel it was Jesus. I realized I hadn't done enough for him in my life. I was embarrassed to be in the face of this authoritative figure and had lost sight of why I was there. I was also embarrassed that he had to remind me that he had given me this life and wondered what I had done with it. He seemed to understand and love me. I was informed I had to return. My next recollection had to show me why I had to return to my body, so I must have resisted. "Think about your mother and father if you die," he urged. I found it odd that I hadn't thought of them since floating away to this location. He showed me a transparent television screen depicting my mother, father, and sister's lives if I did not return. It displayed their entire lives in real time, from beginning to end. I was shown that each of them will have a more difficult and miserable existence. I felt guilty and sorrowful for what they had to go through. But I was still nervous because I knew my loved ones would be right there with me in no time. "This is your life and mission," he remarked, as he projected my future life onto the screen. I realized I'd be involved in the church. I'm now in church. For a long time, I was not involved with the church. We would go on Easter and Christmas, but until approximately 2 years ago, my husband and I had little interest in the church. We're traveling a lot recently, and the deja vu is intense. Things stick with me like a slideshow. The closest way to describe it is like a live picture on an iPhone, yet I have the same precise awareness and emotional sentiments in the visual. I also pictured myself getting married and having 3 boys. I could see each of their future lives. I witnessed how my actions affected the people in my life. I had several options for whatever the outcome would be, good or bad. I currently have 3 boys who all look like the images I saw. I did, however, adopt a teenage daughter. I did not see her in my NDE, but I was taught that we all have free will and the ability to select the best destiny, and that every small action we make affects our future. So it was as if you had 10 options, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Whatever you decided would have an impact on what happened in the future if you did not achieve the purpose that your spirit had given you. The only thing I hadn't seen happen is what my parents' and sisters' lives would have been like if I had died that day. In some respects, I was upset because I thought I had squandered my life with all that I had learned. Life is a magnificent gift from God. I realized I was very materialistic and had lost sight of the goal of life. He showed me Earth, which seemed like a distant satellite. He revealed to me, while slowly moving, that there would be a dark moment on Earth after some time. I feel the Creator's solemn heaviness and melancholy is now, because I sense an energy change that matches the same heaviness. I was shown that injustice and despair would be prevalent throughout the earth. Many were summoned to improve the situation here while we are still present, but not to lose sight of our mission. The desire to fight for happiness and a better future for people and future generations was so great that I knew I had to return to finish my work. I believe the dark hour has arrived because we are at a fork in the road where we may either have heaven on earth or a barren, violent earth, depending on what we all do at this time and season. We will have a very difficult future if we continue with our materialism and exploitation of the earth. Alternatively, we might choose simplicity and live natural, fulfilling lives for our children. I felt compelled to return simply for that moment. To achieve my purpose, I wanted to be a light of goodness and redeem myself. I felt compelled to return and make a difference. I had no choice. I knew I'd return, and it wouldn't be long before I'd be right back here. It would be as quick as a blink of an eye. I felt like I was being sucked into a black vortex tunnel that spiraled down to earth as soon as I had the notion. On my way down, I noticed wicked beings on either side, near the bottom of the tunnel. We failed to recognize them. I got the same answers concerning their origin and why they were there right away. I knew it was the being who had been with me in the dark before my adventure began. I was returned to my body. My mother and sister were holding me in the bathtub. My soul felt as if it didn't belong. It was restricted and frigid. Intelligence, love, and tranquility had vanished, to be replaced with feelings of agony, confusion, and fear. The world appeared gray to me, and I felt dumb and alone once more. I was sobbing with dirt in my mouth. Looking back, I can't believe there was no pain in my body. I have no recollection of the time my mother and father took me from under the pony to the bathtub. My parents assured me that I had suffered no injuries and that I had been swept into the muck without a single bruise, scrape, or broken bone. God is wonderful.